good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world this finds you. And welcome to our first session of the evening. It is my pleasure to introduce Tejas Piedilaya, who is an experienced software engineer leader specializing in AI-driven digital health solutions. Tejas holds a master's in computer science and regularly speaks at major tech conferences, including AI4, as well as IEEE events. Tejas, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Thomas. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are in the room one. I hope I'm audible and you are able to hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I will be speaking about AI-driven innovations in digital health diagnostic. I will be covering this space from a larger lens of like how different technologies fuse together and we have a improve and innovation in the field of healthcare. We will see how AI is being used actively, not in medicine, but also from giving in the care to all the way predicting and improving the treatment. And the goal of this presentation is to first showcase how AI has been applied across diverse medical fields. And second, to introduce to new wave of AI technologies that are helping to shape the future of diagnostic. And towards the end, we will see some of the real world challenges that we face in terms of delivering a world class diagnostic and make this more reliable across diverse set of groups. So, what is diagnostics? Diagnostics are like the process that we use to identify a condition that appropriate action can be taken. It is different from screening and monitoring in a way that we don't rely on traditional mechanisms. And also, it can be like a more of a passive monitoring tools. So, diagnostic ter- comes purely in the process of doing some test, identify the metrics, and then take a informed decision from there. The digital biomarkers, they are the quantifiable health data collected from different devices like smartphones, wearables. The process over here is simple. We rely on this sensor to capture raw data and which is then processed by algorithms to generate meaningful health indicators. So the impact of this is like we can have continuous monitoring in real time. We don't have to draw the blood or go to the lab to draw the blood. And also it's cheaper and economical for scaling the biometrics and overall diagnostics capabilities. On the economic side in alone, in the US, we see like there is an overburden on healthcare staff, hospitals. So this can be a good alternative. We can see around an average saving of $90,000 per patient, per thousand patients. And it enables more personalized care and can be expanded into the rural and low resource areas. So this is how the whole ecosystem is. We capture the data from different sensors, like sleep sensors, watch, smartphone. Then we bring all the raw data to central device for like a pre-processing based on algorithms. You can do this on device or send the data to cloud. And after running those algorithms, we get resultful insights for clinicians to better analyze the observation. So this is like a more technology shift where we are identifying disorders or risk before even some major symptoms manifest. We move from traditional treatment behavior response cycle to more proactively monitoring and be precise in terms of algorithms being able to detect the hidden pattern which could be missed by radiologists. And it also empowers patients by giving them access to their own health data in a meaningful way. So for neurological diagnostic, we see how this is the scan of on the right side we have a CT scan that was taken by a patient, and we see there is on the second column there is on the second row large uh, vessel oscillations in the brain, and it helps doctor to identify this using the ML algorithms to faster detect this and have a life-saving treatment decisions. So there are some companies which are pioneering in this space, like Rapid AI is being popular for Alzheimer's or MS, and also the Wiz AI is working on other neurological disorder. Some of the data that has been analyzed over here are not just scans, but like active user data, like the movements or voice samples to better perform diagnostic. And we have high quality clinically validated data sets for this, which are publicly available. So for infectious diseases, we have overall uh, a powerful public health approach where there is a speed and predictive diagnostics. So consider like for a pandemic scenario, you can have like a wastewater monitoring solutions where you identify powerful genome from monitoring tools, and then you can use AI models to analyze genomic data, and you can predict before any viral outbreak occurs. And so this systems over here for infectious disease particularly works by actively monitoring from large diverse data sources. And we have use cases in different fields like antimicrobial resistance, where AI can analyze bacteria genetic code to identify which antibiotics will be more effective in combating the growth of a bug or superbug. So there are some advantage in terms of like public health infrastructure. So for chronic condition management, similarly, we see we can create a digital twin of the patient to simulate responses to different treatment cycle, allowing for high personalized plans. And also we can have a automated screening where deep learning algorithms can be used to detect the impact from chronic conditions like diabetes and how they are affecting other organs. Some of the leaders in this space are like Caption Health and Path AI. So the research objectives of my proposed research is to build and validate multimodal AI solution that uses digital biomarkers from multiple sources. Instead of relying on just digital data or traditional data, we use multi-model approach where we first assemble a curated data set, and we do like a clinical study with our partners uh, from the external side. Then we compare our results with the traditional gold standards, and then we use clinician in the loop workflow and HIPAA safeguards to measure its impact on diagnostics and also identify it in terms of latency, accuracy, and cost. So this is the diagram that shows the our technical architecture of proposed design system. We begin collecting data from different sensors like heart sensor, finger-based sensors, voice data captured from smartphone. We then extract the feature that we need for specific conditions that we are monitoring. Then this data goes through both early and late fusion models to create comprehensive picture, and we assess these data models on the like the confidence, which is very important for clinicians to trust these algorithms. And the final insights are presented to the clinicians and the system, which they can use to write that to EHR systems. So the methodology is like we use data from targeted EHR systems for pilot training, and this will be deployed at our hospital settings or at some university while following full FDA guidelines for software as a medical device. And we will perform like sensitivity and specificity test with primary endpoints to see like overall diagnostic latency and alert accuracy. For pilot evaluation purposes, we will see our latency reduction plan. So like how it improves overall use cases in the 30-day scenario, 90-day scenario for hospital utilization and amount of time saved per case. We will have a definite clear rule to see if we advance to external validation and FDA approval if we met 70% of our targets. Some of the challenges I would say, sorry. Some of the challenges I would say is like digital biomarkers being deeply personal, the patient trust and privacy comes into play. We want to make sure we anonymize all the sensitive information that can be traced back to a user. And interoperability across different EHR is another challenge. So we have like a smart on file integration where all data can be backed into fire standards. So for our future part, we are in the phase 1 right now. I am finalizing the protocol and data ingestion pipeline from different sensors. In the phase 2, we will produce an interim report on the metrics that we use to collect this result, and we would publish the data set to run our quality assessment. In the phase 3, once we get the data from our internal testing, we would prepare a pre-FDA submission report and secure a testing contract with the hospitals. And if the quality gates are over 80% and we met our earlier primary target, then we would create algorithms that we can partner with other companies or other hospitals that can be used for the live uh, environment. Human in the loop is like very important approach for us. So we want to make sure our data is not just in the hands of consumers, but it is also secured from compliance standard point. And for phase 2, which is like partnering with the commercial pilot, we want to get involved with FDA and have a broader set of trust in the system. And our ROC ratings would be like around 80% for this, and the data completeness for our parameters would be like a key factor to decide whether we advance to our phase 2 or not. Yeah. These are some of the references. Yeah, that's all for me. Anyone has any queries or any
Yes.
thoughts?
Hi, there were several questions that were asked in the chat. And the first one is, what would some of the compliance regulatory challenges we might face since AI is relatively new?
Mhm. So for AI, FDA has come recently with the guidelines on how we should use the AI and ML in healthcare settings, and we have to go with the regular FDA cycles so for approval before we can launch our pilot in the commercial setting.
All right.
And I would say the challenge is like collecting the data and having those data mm, maintain the standards, same standard across different data sources. So that is like initial challenges for deep learning models.
So another question. Thanks for the excellent presentation. Could you please elaborate more about using AI in antibiotics resistant and antibiotic stewardship?
Mhm. So for antibiotic resistance, we want to make sure we use the correct genomic data to identify how that particular antibiotics will work in terms of improving the resistance and making sure like if there is a superbug epidemic, then uh, what are the best alternative options are available for patients to use. So the main goal over here is to use deep learning algorithms to identify the genetic code.
Another question is, would this go through a de novo to get an FDA approval? How hard would it be to get FDA clearance given the use of black box deep learning models? Are there predictive device results for comparison?
Hmm. Yes, it will go for de novo FDA approval rating are like, I think FDA recently tightened the standards on using AI in the healthcare environment. And for existing devices, like there are some companies which are already approved, then they are using this in the sleep therapy or for management of chronic conditions like diabetes and hypertension. For comparison purposes, we would have to rely with the traditional methods, like what traditional biomarkers are available and how it compares to traditional biomarkers for diagnosis or for evaluating effectiveness of the treatment.
Okay, so we have another question about maintaining a human in the loop approach, improve trust and transparency when using synthetic data for decision support.
So, what is the
So
question on that?
the question is, how can maintaining a human in the loop approach improve trust and transparency when using synthetic data for decision support?
Mhm. So, synthetic data. So there, I would answer it in two part. One is like the trust and how we can rely on the data coming from the future extraction or the model. There are going to be biases in the data, and in order to overcome that, we would always have clinicians actively scanning the results from the AI, and the AI would only be able to handle all the biases at the training stage. So we have like a late fusion model as well for that approach. And for generating the synthetic data from digital twin, I would say like over there, the compute and the local infrastructure needs of the models are very high. So we want to make sure the digital twins are used for limited purposes like to analyze the patient response on particular drugs or identifying the patient's reactiveness to the traditional biomarkers and see how effective they are in evaluating the treatment versus to newer approaches.
Okay. So another question, thank you for this information. I can say AI will improve healthcare sector in upcoming future. Do you think human intervention will be gone in healthcare with dependency of data and ML models?
Yeah, uh, it would not be gone. I would say it will be reduced, but there will be still a human intervention needed. We cannot use AI 100%.
So another question is how do we deal with preconceived biases we may face with these relatively new models?
Mhm. That's a good question, actually. So there are known mechanisms right now, like on training new models with the biases that are perceived, and especially like if you consider data which is like either incomplete or like partially available from one sensor, but it doesn't have a equivalent data from other sensor. So we can use digital twin to regenerate some of the missing data. And another thing would be like we are not solely relying on the models, so we would be having a real-time monitoring capabilities as well. So if we identify any anomalies, then we can feed that to our training loop and have a and remove that biases.